back to my Book of Mormon. Me, David Michael. It's been a while since I recorded. I think anyone that's following this real time will know that I think I mentioned I was going to be really busy. I was actually out of town all last week, so I kind of pre-recorded the MIMO special that we did with Prophet Matthew, and seemed to get good reception so far from what I've heard from everybody. Everybody seemed to enjoy that. I certainly enjoyed doing it, so once again, thank you to Prophet Matt. I had a lot of fun, learned a lot, and I think we had covered some great topics. I really enjoyed it. So anyway, finally though, it's been a while since I read this thing. I admit it, my bad. So we're back. I'm going to read the Book of Mormon. Let's find out what other gems are in store for us. And before we do that, I do have to take a moment to thank a new member of the MIMO royal family. We have Priest Mark Olson. That's right. So for those of you that listen to the Outer Darkness podcast, you might have heard that they committed to doing their part for the Taylor Scholarship because they really want to get behind that movement. And so they decided to support the scholarship this way. So thank you so much to not only Mark, but all of the guys over there at Outer Darkness podcast. You guys are awesome. I had such a blast on your show. And for anyone that hasn't checked out their show, please take a moment to go do it. So thank you, Mark. All right. Well, enough of that. I feel like I don't have to talk about the scholarship anymore because I made a whole show about it. Just tell you how important it was. So if you didn't catch it then, you go back and listen to episode 35 and hear the message again. Scholarship's doing great work, and all of you that are doing your part to support it, thank you so much. We're changing the world. Okay, now it's time for full disclosure. So I had a work thing after work, little event, and I think I'm kind of drunk right now. So, I don't know, this is my only night that I could record, and so I was like, oh crap, why do I have to have all those drinks? But whatever, I'm going to try it anyway. I'm going to power through. And yeah, I just felt like the drinking was going well. So I'm actually going to play along tonight. I did this once before, and it was like the lamest episode ever for drinks. I think it was like 3 drinks the entire, whatever. It wasn't much. So yeah, we'll see how many. Lately, these have been pretty good drinking episodes. So I'm going to try and keep up as much as I can. So apologize in advance if you have to hear the pauses for me taking drinks, but I'm going to do it. And I hope I'm still able to read by the end of the episode. We'll see. Because remember, a lot of people said you can't get through these episodes if you play the drinking game. I'm actually starting ahead. I've already pre-gamed this thing, right? I mean, I'm, all right, yeah, you see my point. Well, actually, for those of you that don't drink, maybe you don't see my point. But, whatever. I'm confident. Imagine that. I have liquid confidence in me. I believe I can do this. Okay, so back to the Book of Mormon. We're starting chapter 18 of Alma. And where did we leave off? It's been so long. It was Ammon who went on the whole arm chopping spree, right? Yeah. And what's funny is I actually had to go back and listen to the last episode earlier today. I was like, okay, I have to record tonight. What the hell happened? I don't remember. And so I listened to the last 10 minutes just to get a refresher. And something struck me as odd. As I was listening to it, I thought, wait a minute. So there were some, let's just be honest, right? Some pranksters, right? And they would just come in and mess with the flock and scatter the sheep, right? They were just probably some kids up to no good. They were bored and they were just messing around with the shepherds, right? Just a group of hooligans. What are you going to do? And so Alma's response to this was to start murdering them, right? I think he said he killed like 6 with his sling. He just started murdering them. And then they came at him to defend themselves because they're literally getting murdered with these stones from this apparently awesome sling that Alma has. And when they come to try and defend themselves, he starts chopping their arms off. It's crazy. Alma, did you think to talk to him? Like, seriously, could you walk up and say, hey guys, maybe you don't know this is the king's flock, and seriously, he does not mess around. He finds out you did this, could be really bad. Don't worry, we got you covered. We found all the sheep, we got them back, everything's going to be okay. But just FYI, I know you guys are out having a good time, having some fun, but probably a good idea to just leave this flock alone. That's just a suggestion. He could have said any number of things, right? He could have threatened them. He could have walked up and said, seriously? You don't know who you're messing with. King's flock, don't mess around. No. He could have done anything. But no, without a word, he just started murdering them. Right? I wish, I'm going to ask that question on the next MIMO special. How is that okay? Oh, we'll see. I don't know. It just seems, it's such an overreaction. You know what I mean? It's just like such an overreaction. It's like somebody walked onto your property to like pick a flower for their girlfriend and you just shoot them. You know, it's just like some insane overreaction. You're like, well, he was on my property stealing. It's like, well, did you have to kill him? Anyway, I think I made my point. And you know what? Frankly, I missed it when I read it, so I don't know that I get to like pull that joke out in the next episode and say like, hey, I wish I had said this joke last time. Yeah, I don't know that it was a joke. Not really a joke. Oh, God, this is what happens when I drink. I babble. Okay, so I have to start reading. I'm just going to babble forever about the last episode. So here we go. Chapter 18, Book of Alma. And here I go. Got to keep babbling. Can't stop myself. So, but it ended. He chopped off all their arms, and then he like put them in a big bag, and he went before the king, and he just dropped this big bag of severed arms in front of the king, and he's like, check it out. Proof. I just defended your sheep. Right? Okay. So now we're about to find out what I assume, who knows? This could start like, oh, and now 600 years later. Like, we don't know. But I'm hoping that we're now getting into the king's reaction to a bunch of severed arms dropped at his feet. Okay, here we go. Verse 1. And it came to pass. Drink. Right off the bat. Fantastic. All right, that King Lamoni caused that his servants should stand forth and testify to all the things which they had seen concerning the matter, which I assume is the whole murdering arm chopping thing. And when they had all testified to the things which they had seen, and he learned of the faithfulness of Ammon in preserving his flocks, yeah, he's faithful, and also of his great power in contending against those who sought to slay him. Who sought to slay him? Again, going back to my original point, he didn't seek to slay anyone. They were just messing with sheep. He just started, anyway. He was astonished exceedingly, and said, surely this is more than a man. Behold, is not this the great spirit who doth send such great punishments upon this people because of their murders? I don't know who he's talking about there. The great spirit doth send punishments? I think he's just like indicting his entire people, I think. Like, oh, well, we are Lamanites, so of course God's going to send someone to punish us. Maybe that's what he's saying. I don't know. And they answered the king and said, whether he be the great spirit or a man, we know not. But this much we do know, that he cannot be slain by the enemies of the king. Neither can they scatter the king's flocks when he is with us, because of his expertness and great strength. Therefore, we know that he is a friend of the king. And now, O king, we do not believe that a man has such great power, for we know he cannot be slain. Okay. I mean, I don't know, he's good with a sword and a sling. I'll give him that. He's a good warrior, but to make the claim that he cannot be slain, I don't know. I feel like that's going to be hard to prove, right? Because the only way to prove it is to actually kill him. So then, yeah, anyway. Okay, and now, when the king heard these words, he said unto them, now I know that this is the great spirit, and he has come down at this time to preserve your lives, that I might not slay you as I did your brethren. Oh my God, the king's like, yeah, when your brothers lost the sheep, oh, I killed him on the spot. You know, what are you going to do? You got to kill people, lose your sheep. And he's like, so you should be pretty happy. And Ammon came along, because now I don't have to kill you. Everybody, you should be probably thanking him quite a bit. Okay, and now this is the great spirit of whom our fathers have spoken. The great spirit that comes down to keep the king from being, just murdering his people for the enemy taking their sheep. You know what I mean? Whatever. That spirit. Good thing he came along. The king's like, look, I'm a total a-hole. I just kill for sport. Thank goodness the spirit came along, because otherwise, you guys, I'd have thrown you out with the garbage. Anyway, now this was a tradition of Lamoni, great tradition, which he had received from his father. Glad this wonderful tradition is being handed down. You kill anyone that loses sheep. That there was a great spirit. Notwithstanding they believed in a great spirit, they supposed that whatever they did was right. Nevertheless, Lamoni began to fear exceedingly, with fear lest he had done wrong in slaying his servants. Lamoni's like, I'm a little afraid that perhaps murdering people, or I guess in his case executing, right? He is in charge, so it wouldn't really be murder, be executing. Either way, I'd call it murder. But he starts executing subjects that, through no fault of their own, lose his sheep. And now he's like, ugh, kind of worried that might have been a mistake. Let me talk to my counselors and see. Was that the right call? Let me answer that for you, Lamoni. No, that was not a cool thing to do. Which he's a weird guy, right? Because when, the sworn enemy of the Lamanites, the Nephi, walks into town, they tie him up, they bring him before the king, they're like, do you want us to kill him? And he's like, nah, no, I don't think we should kill him. Tell you what, untie him, and let me offer one of my daughters for him to marry, and he can live here in peace. It was, weird. And then the same guy is just like lopping heads off of whoever loses his sheep. Weird moral system this king has. Anyway, it's going to take forever at this rate. Okay. For he had slain many of them because their brethren had scattered their flocks at the place of water, and thus because they had their flocks scattered, they were slain. Yeah, I get this. We got that. You've already explained that. We know why the king was slaying people, and it's like, in case you missed it, this is why. No, we caught it the first time. Anyway, now it was the practice of these Lamanites to stand by the waters of Sebus to scatter the flocks of the people. What? It was the practice of the Lamanites. But they are Lamanites. I said it again. Well, Lamanites, right? I thought Lamoni was a Lamanite. I thought he was. Oh man, I'm confused. If I'm wrong, no one's called it out because I'm pretty sure I made that assumption in the last time I was reading this. Anyway, we're gonna still assume that they're all Lamanites, but there's obviously some subsect of the tribe that aren't getting along, is my guess. Anyway, okay, so these people. These Lamanites, their practice is to scatter the flocks of the people, that thereby they might drive away many that were scattered unto their own land, it being a practice of plunder among them. Okay, so it wasn't so much scattering as pretty much thieving, right? So they were going in there trying to actually steal the flocks. Okay, and it came to pass, drink, stand by, that King Lamoni inquired of his servants, saying, where is this man that has such great power? Wait a minute, he's not there? I thought Ammon walked in and had a whole bag of arms, but apparently maybe he's in the guest chambers. I don't know, we'll see. And they said unto him, behold, he is feeding thy horses. Now the king had commanded his servants previous to the time of the watering of the flocks, that they should prepare his horses and chariots, and conduct him forth in the land of Nephi. Wait a minute. So the king wants to go forth to the land of Nephi. That's interesting, for there had been a feast appointed at the land of Nephi by the father of Lamoni, who was the king over all the land. I don't know. I have no idea where we are. Man, I'm actually quite confused. Because the king, the father of Lamoni is not the king of all the land, is he? Unless it's the land of the Lamanites, but now it's going to the land of Nephi. Oh, I get it. Guys, I get it now. Okay. All right, I get it. So the people that are called Nephites, right? The people that are called Nephites don't actually live in the place called Nephi anymore, right? Remember, they fled out of there, and they went and founded their own, civilization with the Zarahemla or whatever. There you go. So I think, even though this is confusing, I get it, but the land of Nephi is still under Lamanite control. Yeah. So that's why it is. There you go. Okay, so the father of Lamoni is a king over all the Lamanites, and he happens to live in the land of Nephi, which, bear in mind, is under Lamanite control. I think that's what's going on here. Ooh. I hope you guys are not, angry at having to correct me if I'm wrong, but that seems like that's what's happening. But if I'm way off base, please tell me. I'd hate to do, the next 5 episodes having some of these major assumptions wrong. Anyway, okay. Now, when King Lamoni heard that Ammon was preparing his horses and his chariots, he was more astonished because of the faithfulness of Ammon, saying, surely there has not been any servant among my servants that has been so faithful as this man, for he doth remember all my commandments to execute them. Okay, I love that. He's like, hey dude, I need you to get my horses ready. And he's like, okay. And he went and did it. And now it's like, oh my God, look how faithful he is. I told him to do a thing, and he did the thing. Yeah. What a guy. Now, surely I know that this is the Great Spirit. My God, you got some disobedient subjects. If one guy following one command, is now proof he is the Great Spirit. And I would desire that he come in unto me. Ooh, well, I'm sorry. I know I'm a little drunk, but I'm pretty sure I just read that. Let me read it again. Ready? Now I surely know that this is the Great Spirit, referring to Ammon, and I would desire that he come in unto me. I don't even have to make a joke. All I have to do is read that. And let's see. There's still more. Okay, that he come in unto me, but I durst not. What? So he okay. So we're just he has a desire, right? We'll call it a temptation, that Ammon come in unto him. But he's like, but I can't. Man, I really want him to come in unto me And again, I'm not making a joke. I'm just reading the words. And yeah, but he just couldn't do it. He just couldn't bring himself to invite him in. Wow. Okay. Awesome. Who knew? I mean, I guess if your name's Lamoni, I guess, we should have seen that coming. That's, Anyway, so, alright. Where were we? Now surely, we already read that one slowly. Okay, 12. And it came to pass, drink! That when Ammon had made ready the horses and the chariots for the kings and his servants, he went in unto the king. Wait! He did it! He went in unto the king. There you go. And he saw that the countenance of the king was changed. Therefore he was about to return out of his presence. Okay, now I'm starting to think that wasn't as dirty as it sounded. I think it was just like, hey, go see the guy. Man, boy, that sounded worse. It sounded a lot worse. Okay. And one of the king's servants said unto him, Rabbana. What? Which is, being interpreted, powerful or great king. Rabbana. No, I'm saying that wrong. Rabbana. Rabbana. That's it. Okay. So, Rabbana, everybody. Which means that you powerful or great king. Okay, it's random. Considering their king to be powerful, and thus he said unto him, Rabbana, the king desireth thee to stay. Okay, getting kinky again. So now that I guess they've instituted some kind of safe word, Rabbana, and so Ammon walked in and he's like, whoa, king doesn't look like I saw him last time. Countenance has changed. And so he's like, man, I better get out of here. This is looking a little freaky. And then, the king's servants are like, hold on now, Rabbana. I'm just saying. The king desireth thee to stay. Well, let's see if Ammon takes the bait. Therefore Ammon turned himself unto the king. Well, looks like things are heating back up again, and said unto him, What wilt thou that I should do for thee, O king? Yeah, you liking this? This is good. And the king answered him, Not for the space of an hour, according to their time. Playing hard to get, listen to him. For he knew not what he should say unto him. And it came to pass, just a drink for the moment, everyone, that Ammon, being filled with the Spirit of God, therefore he perceived the thoughts of the king. And he said unto him, Is it because thou hast heard that I defended thy servants and thy flocks, and slew 7 of their brethren with the sling and with the sword, and smote off the arms of others, in order to defend thy flocks and thy servants? Behold, it is this that causeth thy marvelings. This is awesome. I hope I'm not annoying doing the my attempted sexy voice. But yeah, it sounds like Alma is absolutely coming on to this king. I mean, absolutely. He's like, is it because how badass I am that you want me? It's basically what he just said there. Yeah. All right, so here we go. I'm going to keep doing sexy voice until this whole little scene ends. I think Alma's still talking. Yeah, here we go. I say unto you, what is it that thy marvelings are so great? Behold, I am a man. I am thy servant. Therefore, whatever so thou desireth which is right, that will I do. Wow, this is steamy. You hearing all this? Oof. This is, I'm getting hot and bothered. All right. Now when the king had heard these words, he marveled again, for he beheld that Ammon could discern his thoughts. The king's like, he knows how bad I want him. My goodness. All right. But notwithstanding this, King Lamoni did open his mouth. Ooh, this is getting hot. And said unto him, Who art thou? Art thou thy great spirit who knows all things? Ammon answered and said unto him, I am not. And the king said, How knowest thou the thoughts of my heart? Thou mayest speak boldly, and tell me concerning these things, and also tell me by what power ye slew and smote off the arms of my brethren that scattered my flocks. And now if thou wilt tell me concerning these things, whatever so thou desirest, I will give unto thee. For if it were needed, I would guard thee with my armies. But I know that thou art more powerful than all they. Nevertheless, whatever so thou desirest of me, I will grant it unto thee. Man, you hearing this? This is hot. I don't know. Would it be as hot if I was speaking regularly? I don't know. But it seems to be working. Like, so far, I'm like trying to get, reach a point where it's no longer relevant to use this voice. But so far, it hasn't. This has stayed steamy. They're both like, you just say the word and I will do it. Like, they're both saying it to each other. They're both, basically goading each other to make the first move. Like, you tell me what you want and I'm all over it, right? And then the other one's like, you tell me what you want and I'm all over it, right? That's what they're doing right now. They're going back and forth with it. Oh, this is something. Here we go. Now Ammon being wise, yet harmless, he said unto Lamoni, Wilt thou hearken unto my words, if I tell thee by what power I do these things? And this is the thing which I desire of thee. And the king answered him, you know what he's going to say. He said, Yea, drink. I will believe all thy words, unless he was caught with guile. Wait 1 minute. He's being tricked. Oh no. This is all just an act? Alma. You can't get him all worked up? Not Alma. Sorry. Ammon. I said Alma. I meant Ammon. He's getting this king all hot and bothered, and he's going to... apparently this is all a guile. But still, maybe this is a role play thing they're doing. I'm going to keep going. I want to keep going with sexy voice, even though this is all guile, apparently. We'll see. And Ammon began to speak unto him with boldness, saying unto him, Believest thou that there is a God? Oh, there's a mood killer right there. It's no longer sexy. As soon as you're right in the middle, this is about to get like freaky in this room, and all of a sudden someone's like, do you believe in God? And it's like, oh, whoa, buzzkill, dude. Why'd you have to go there? All right, sexy voice is over. Scene, done. You know what I mean? King's there. He's starting to unbutton. He's getting lower and lower, and all of a sudden it's like, do you believe in God? And he's like, okay, button him back up. Well, thanks. Thanks for ruining the mood. All right, so let's see. Okay. Believest thou there's a God? Back to regular voice. And he answered and said unto him, I do not know what thou meaneth. That's the best question I've heard in this book. Great question. Someone asks you, do you believe in God? And your first response should be, well, please define God. And I'll tell you if I believe in him, right? Because everybody has a different definition. Maybe someday someone will come and give me their definition of God, and I'll be like, that one matches reality, and I'm sure. But anyway, that hasn't happened yet. So it sounds like King Lamoni is asking the same thing. I don't know. What do you mean by God? So let's see what Ammon says. And then Ammon said, Believest thou that there is a great spirit? Well, that's... You love that? So someone came to you and said, do you believe in God? And you said, well, first I need you to kind of define God. What is God? Please tell me what that means. And they said, a great spirit. And you're like, oh, that clears it up. Thank you very much. Anyway, so that's Ammon's answer. Great spirit. And he said, yay. Well, that's a ridiculous answer, but we're taking a drink for it. Pretty sure the king should have said, how is that different? He's used a different word. It's like you still haven't described him. Anyway, and Ammon said, this is God. And Ammon said unto him again, Believest thou that this great spirit, who is God, created all things which are in heaven and in earth? Come on, guys. It's like the same great spirit, God, Yahweh, take your pick, Jehovah. It's just a different word for the same thing in your worldview. It's like they decided to have this pointless semantic battle. Wait a minute. We call him Great Spirit. We call him God. What's the same, man? Really? Are you sure? Yeah, man, it totally is. Sometimes. I hope this isn't annoying that I'm kind of drunk. Anyway, whatever. So, all right. So, yeah. And Ammon said unto him, The heavens is a place where God dwells, and all his holy angels. And King Lamoni said, Is it above the earth? What kind of conversation is... Lamoni is... he's not too bright. Okay, so it's above the earth. And Ammon said, Yea, drink. And he looketh down upon all the children of men, and he knows all the thoughts and intents of the heart, for by his hand were they all created from the beginning. How does that have anything to do with where heaven's located? Because he's like, he lives in heaven. And again, Lamoni's kind of like, well, where's heaven? Exactly. And he's like, it's a place where he knows your thoughts. It's like, that's not what I asked, but okay. Ammon said unto him, I am a man, and man in the beginning was created after the image of God, and I am called by his Holy Spirit to teach these things unto this people, that they may be brought to a knowledge of that which is just and true. It's getting boring now. Man, we had that whole seductive setup, and now it got preachy. Yeah. All right, full disclosure. I had to pause because I was out of beer. I had to go get another one. And so I took a moment to look back and count the number of drinks that we had. Turns out we had 9 so far. So my calculations on the website might be all wrong, because I thought I did a good empirical test, and it took me 6 gulps to get through a beer. But yeah, sometimes when you're playing the drinking game, you gotta do it quick, right? So I think 6 was too much. 9 should be the number, I think. Well, I mean, we have a case study of 1 right now, so we had 1. and it took 9. Yeah. So, all right, we'll keep going, and I'll as soon as I'm out of beer again, I might have to stop and go back and count, because there's no way I'm keeping track as I go. That's not happening. So, we'll see. Anyway, so I'm back, but good news. I brought 2 back with me, because I have a feeling we're about to get a lot of drinks in here. All right, so we left off at 34. I told myself that when I left. Remember, 35 is next verse. Okay, back at it. And a portion of the Spirit that dwelleth in me, which giveth me knowledge, and also power according to my faith and desires which are in God. I think it's Ammon talking, I suppose. And when Ammon had said these words, yep, I was right, he began at the creation of the world. What? And also the creation of Adam. Why is he telling this story? It's weird. And told him all the things concerning the fall of man, and rehearsed and laid before him the records and the holy scriptures of the people, which have been spoken by the prophets, even down to the time of their father Lehi, who left Jerusalem. Well, thank goodness they just gave us a quick little FYI there that he basically told this king everything up until now. So if the king was if he was feeling a little randy before, he's not now. He's probably like, oh my God, stop talking. Goodness, it took forever. Because, it took us months to get this far. And he's just like, Ammon's like, I'm going to tell you everything happened so far. And also he rehearsed unto them, for it was unto the king and to his servants. That's funny. That was in parentheses. Because I was about to say them. Who's them? I thought this was like a little private meeting. But apparently the servants never left. They were going to watch whatever was going to happen there. And they're probably a bit let down. All right. So rehearsed unto them all the journeyings of their fathers in the wilderness, and all their sufferings with hunger and thirst, and their travail, and so forth. No, don't do this, because before it said that, he already told the whole story. Oh, now it looks like he's going to tell it again. All right, buckle up, guys. He's, oh, here we go. He's going to recap the entire book so far. Sorry, I did read down the page. I know I don't say I read ahead, but I did peek. Sorry. Okay, so we're just going to keep going. And he also rehearsed unto them concerning the rebellions of Laman and Lemuel, and the sons of Ishmael. Yea, drink. All their rebellions did he relate unto them, and he expounded unto them all the records and scriptures from the time that Lehi left Jerusalem down to the present time. Okay, so we're done. Down to the present time. And there's no more story, right? I hope. Somehow, looking down, it looks like it's not done. All right, here we go. But this is not all, for he expounded unto them the plan of redemption, which was prepared from the foundation of the world, and he also made known unto them concerning the coming of Christ, and all the works of the Lord did he make known unto them. Okay, so he's literally covered the past, the present, and the future. Please stop talking, Ammon. We got it. And it came to pass, well, at least we have a drink, that after he said all these things, he expounded them to a king, and the king believed all his words. He expounded them to the king? My God, he went into more detail with the king? Heavens. King probably told him he believed him just to get him to stop talking. Anyway, and he began to cry unto the Lord, saying, O Lord, have mercy, according to thy abundant mercy, which thou hast had upon the people of Nephi, have upon me and my people. I guess it's a king. King's sold. He's like, I'm drinking your Kool-Aid, Ammon. Just give me a sip. Actually, no, I'll chug that thing. I'm on board. Lord, give me your blessings. Give me your mercy. Yeah. And now when he had said this, he fell unto the earth, as if he were dead. Well, I guess that God gave him his answer. He said, God, show me your mercy. He's like, how about death? How's that for mercy? Oh, that can't, surely, it's as if he were dead. He can't be dead, right? Surely not. And it came to pass, drink, that his servants took him and carried him unto his wife, and laid him upon a bed, and he lay as if he were dead for the space of 2 days and 2 nights. Goodness. And his wife and his sons and his daughters mourned over him, after the manner of the Lamanites, greatly lamenting his loss. Wow. So this is implying that he's not really dead, because why would you say he lay dead for the space of 2 days and 2 nights, if not to say, and then he woke up, right? But this is a pretty convincing state. If you're in a coma, you're still breathing. They're like, dude's dead. They're having a funeral. They're doing the whole 9. Well, that was the end of 18. And, wow, I'm sorry, everybody. That was a struggle. The problem is I took a risk, because I said to myself, well, if I record this and I sound like a babbling idiot, because, I'm not in proper mental state, then I thought, well, I can always just scrap it and re-record. There's 2 problems with that. 1, I don't know when I'm going to have time to record again. And 2, that would violate the oath of not reading ahead. It would totally violate. I can't read this again. I can't. So I'm in. I have to release this. I'm sorry. So I'm just sorry if this is annoying. I can't go back on my word. It might have been a bad decision, but once I started, I had to keep going. So we're going to chapter 19 of the Book of Alma. Here we go. And it came to pass, drink! Oh, man. That after 2 days and 2 nights, they were about to take his body and lay it in a sepulchre. So they're about to bury him, right? Which they had made for the purpose of burying their dead. Now the queen, having heard of the fame of Ammon, therefore she sent and desired that he should come in unto her. Well, might bring the sexy voice back. So maybe Ammon, right, was just like, he was turning the king on, right? He basically seduced him, right, into accepting his belief. Now the queen's like, I don't know what you did to my husband, but can I have a piece of that? Oh. So here we go. I mean, same thing. She desired that he should come in unto her. Well, I'm just saying. That's what it says. And it came to pass, drink. I'm glad I brought 2 beers. This was almost gone. That Ammon did as she was commanded, and went in unto the queen, and desired to know that he should do. Whoa, that was poorly worded. Desired to know what she would that he should do. Basically, he's like, what do you want? What do you want, queen? I am your servant. And she said unto him, the servants of my husband have made it known unto me that thou art a prophet of the holy God, and thou hast power to do many mighty works in his name. Yeah, sorry. Any of you that were hoping the sexy voice would come back, that doesn't look like it's happening, because this went, they didn't even have like the little seductive talk first about what do you want, I'll do it. Yeah, they went straight to God. So he walked in and he's like, what do you want, queen? Anything you want? And she's like, so I hear you know God? And he's like, oh, yeah, I suppose I do. Was hoping for more, but yeah, I do. I know the guy. What do you want to know? All right. Therefore, if this is the case, I would that ye should go in and see my husband, for he has been laid upon his bed for the space of 2 days and 2 nights, and some say that he is not dead, but others say that he is dead. Okay. And that he stinketh. Ha! He stinketh. Yeah. It's like, dude is rotting. He smells like a rotten corpse. And there's some people saying he's not dead. That's awesome. Okay, so he stinketh, and that he ought to be placed in the sepulchre, but as for myself, to me he doth not stink. Okay, so everyone's like, what a strange way of determining death. Leave him be for a few days. How ripe is he? And the queen's like, well, I don't smell a thing. And everyone's like, dude, this dude is dead. He's rotting. He is a stinky corpse. And she's like, I don't smell it. Okay, so the queen's like, I don't think he's dead. He doesn't stink to me. Keep him. Don't bury him yet. Now this was what Ammon desired, for he knew that the King Lamoni was under the power of God. Oh my God. So Ammon's like, ooh, my trick. God's trick is working, apparently. Ammon couldn't be happier. Yeah. He knew that the dark veil of unbelief was being cast away from his mind, and that the light which did light up his mind, which was the light of the glory of God, which was a marvelous light of his goodness, yea, drink. This light had infused such joy into his soul, and the clouds of darkness having been dispelled, and the light of everlasting life was lit upon his soul, yea, drink. He knew that this had overcome his natural frame, and was carried away in God. There you go. So, warning to everybody, or anybody, that was considering converting. I know so far, I made a pretty strong case. So some of you probably right now are thinking, you know what? I never knew how awesome the Book of Mormon was. But now that I'm hearing it, I'm ready to convert. Just giving you a warning. It is going to, blow your mind so much when you repent that you're going to go in a coma. Just knock you out. Your body can't handle the shock. You just can't handle it. That's what it's saying. Just like the cloud of darkness being lifted up and the light that comes in is just going to, coma. Gotta say, this is not a selling point. I don't know. I don't see why this is in here. This certainly, if I was on the fence about whether or not to convert, this would make me say, "Ooh, bad idea. I don't want any of that." Coma. I would like to live my life coma free. Thank you. Anyway, all right. Therefore, what the queen desired of him was his only desire. What? Whose only desire? Pronouns. The curse of this book. I guess. All right, I get it. Okay, so Ammon really wanted to go see the king. Okay, so now we know he didn't want to be with the queen. He wanted to be with the king. All right, truth is coming out. Ammon's starting to, open the door of the closet a little there. And so the queen's like, well, all I wanted was for you to go see the king because, I feel like you know God and you could heal him. And Ammon's like, well, My only desire was to see the king. So we are aligned. That's awesome. Therefore he went in to see the king, according as the queen had desired of him. And he saw the king, and he knew that he was not dead. I don't know how he knew. Apparently we can add medical practitioner to the list of Ammon's many powers. And he said unto the queen, He's not dead, but he sleepeth in God. Ooh, he sleepeth in God. Well, I don't know what to make of that. Anyway, and now on the morrow he shall rise again. Therefore bury him not. Good tip. Not dead, don't bury him. And Ammon said unto her, Believest thou this? And she said unto him, I have no witness save thy word. Okay. And the word of our servants. Nevertheless, I believe that it shall be according to as thou hast said. They're always so obsessed with this. Do you believe me? Right? So he's like, don't worry, he's going to wake up tomorrow. And he's like, but do you believe me? Like, what if she said, no, not really? I mean, would he be like, then cursed be you? You know what I mean? Or maybe like, I'm throwing your children in fire. Bah! Like, I chop off arms. Ah, you don't believe. Like, what difference does it make? You've told her that he's going to be raised from the dead tomorrow. Can't she just see it for herself? Why is it so important that she believe that it's going to happen? If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Anyway, okay, so don't worry. She believed. And Ammon said unto her, Blessed art thou because of thy exceeding faith. I say unto thee, woman. Ha! I love that. She still doesn't have a name, by the way. So far, we are like nearing halfway point of this book. And so far, the only woman that was named was Sariah. And what was her role exactly? To doubt her husband, right? To say like, oh, you horrible man, you sent our sons off to be killed in Jerusalem. And then when they came back, he like had a total like, talk to the hand kind of moment with her. That was it. That was Sariah. Thanks for that. And now the wife of the king, the queen of this kingdom, does she get a name? No, she is woman, right? This is how Ammon's talking to the queen. This book is just loves women, doesn't it? So respectful. The queen. She didn't get your majesty. No. Woman. I say unto thee, woman. Anyway, sorry. It was just jumped out at me. It's like, could you imagine speaking to someone that way, let alone a queen? You know what I mean? Okay, whatever. Woman. There has not been such great faith among all thy people of the Nephites. That's the funny thing is he thinks he's giving her a compliment. He's like, oh, how great is your faith, woman. It's like, okay, the compliment started out well, ruined. You kind of ruined it with the whole woman being thrown in there. All right, and it came to pass. Oh, thank God, drink. Well, see, now I'm out of that beer. I'm going to open another one. That's surprising. All right. That she watched over the bed of her husband, and from that time even until that time on the morrow which Ammon had appointed that he should rise. So I don't know why she had to sit there. If she really believed that Ammon was right, she would have been like, well, I guess I got a good night's sleep, nothing to worry about, because he's going to wake up in the morning. But no, she felt like she had to watch over his bed all night. Weird. And it came to pass, drink, that he arose according to the words of Ammon. And as he arose, he stretched forth his hand unto the woman. The woman. She's not even the queen anymore. She's just the woman. And said, Blessed be the name of God, and blessed art thou. Well, thank goodness, the woman got blessed. That's fantastic. And it's a good thing we bless the name of God, because we don't know her name. And something tells me we never will. Yeah, the woman shall not be named. For as sure as thou livest, behold, I have seen my Redeemer, and he shall come forth and be born of a woman. Sorry. Oh my God. What? Okay. All right. Back up. If you're going to describe a human being, okay, so you're like, yeah, there's someone coming, a person, and it's like, tell me about him. They will be born of a woman. As opposed to all the humans that were not born of a woman? What? Oh, that's okay. Sorry. I mean, that's just a weird way to start your description. The Savior is coming. Really? Tell us. Born of a woman. Ah. Okay. Sorry. I lost my place, but that was pretty funny. Here we go. And he shall redeem all mankind who believe on his name. That's it. That's a description. He's going to be born of a woman, as opposed to all the rest of us, and he's going to redeem all mankind. If you believe. Got to believe, though. He's only going to redeem you that believe in his name. All right, fair enough. Can I just say, I believe Jesus was a historical figure? I believe that name existed. I suppose so. You just have to believe in his name. There you go. It's great. I can do that. I can pull that off. That's fair. Now when he had said these words, his heart was swollen within him. Okay. And he sunk again with joy, and the queen also sunk down. She's back to being the queen. There you go. Being overpowered by the spirit. I'm telling you, you gotta be careful with that spirit. Last time he, had some sort of spiritual moment, they almost buried him. And now they're both just falling over, being overpowered. Be careful. Try not to take too much of that spirit. They're having an overdose on spirit. That's what's going on. Yeah. You gotta be careful, especially first timers. They've never done this before. You don't just go all in on the first try. You gotta ease your way and just let a little spirit in at a time. Maybe tomorrow you try a little bit more spirit, and eventually you can handle all the spirit. But right now, you open the floodgates. Come on. No wonder they're getting knocked out. That's just irresponsible. Now Ammon, seeing the Spirit of the Lord, poured out according to his prayers upon the Lamanites, his brethren, who had been the cause of so much mourning among the Nephites, or among the people of God, because of their iniquities and their traditions. He fell upon his knees and began to pour out his soul. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I can't get my head out of the gutter. I can't. So just take everything else out of context, right? Forget anything else I read. Pretend that I said to you, I came up to you off the street, and I was like, hey, I knew this guy. And they're like, okay. And yeah, he fell on his knees and started to pour out his soul. What would you think I'm talking about? I think okay, that's just how it sounded to me. If the rest of you are like, I didn't think that, well, that's my bad for having a potty mind anyway. All right. Well, actually, it becomes less perverted when you read the rest of it. He fell upon his knees and began to pour out his soul in prayer and thanksgiving. Well, now it's, okay, fine. I guess if I'd finished the sentence, it wouldn't have sounded as bad, but what are you going to do? All right, so prayer and thanksgiving to God for what he had done for his brethren. He was so overpowered with joy. And careful now. See, he's getting a little bit too much spirit. Ammon, careful. You saw what happened last time to the king. Lamoni, almost dead. Too much spirit. Be careful. And thus they had all three sunk to the earth. Well, see, Ammon let in too much spirit too. Man, these guys all ODing on spirit. Anyway, I still don't quite understand what Ammon did. He proved that he was a badass, could chop people up, and then came back to the king and he's like, hey, let me tell you this story about God. And now everyone's just passing out from spirit. There you go. Ammon he's a good salesman. Give him that. Anyway, now when the servants of the king had seen that they had fallen, they also began to cry unto God, for the fear of the Lord had come upon them also. Uh-oh. The whole kingdom is just going to pass out. For it was they who had stood before the king and testified unto him concerning the great power of Ammon. Okay, I don't know how that's relevant, but whatever. And it came to pass, drink, finally. That they did call on the name of the Lord in their might, even until they had all fallen to the earth. See, there you go. Everyone, the whole kingdom's just going to be in a coma. That's going to be easy conquering for a neighboring tribe. Save it were for one of the Lamanitish women. There it is again with Lamanite-ish. Why isn't it just Lamanite? It's like Lamanite-ish. And I believe I said Lamanite-ish, didn't I? Well, it looks even weirder when you put an ish on the end. Anyway, one of the women, whose name was Abish. Holy crap, we just got another name of a woman. Hey, there you go. Everybody, you got that? We now have Sariah and Abish. I need to write that name down, because we officially have the second named woman in the Book of Mormon. It took a while. The queen didn't get a name. Her name was Woman. But Abish, we're going to find out what she did, because she apparently is a more important character than the queen. All right. Way to go, Lamanitish Abish. That's a tongue twister. Okay, so who is Abish? She, having been converted unto the Lord for many years, on account of a remarkable vision of her father. So, I think what it's saying is, everybody in this kingdom just is in a coma. They all just passed out. They all OD'd on spirit. But Abish is like, oh my God, I OD'd years ago. I can take in all the spirit you can give me. I'm fine. I'm good. Because she's like, she converted a while ago. She's like, I know what you guys are going through. You'll snap out of it. But for now, she is walking around alone. Everybody else is knocked out. So there you go. And apparently her dad had a vision. Remember, there is nothing more important than your dad having a vision. Just ask Nephi. Take that seriously, right? All right. Thus having been converted to the Lord, and never having made it known. Well, that's not exactly converting, is it, if you stay closeted? Therefore, when she saw that all the servants of Lamoni had fallen to the earth, and also her mistress, the queen, and the king, and Ammon lay prostrate upon the earth, She knew that it was the power of God, and supporting this opportunity by making known unto the people what had happened among them, that by beholding this scene it would cause them to believe in the power of God. Therefore she ran forth from house to house, making it known unto the people. I thought all the people were knocked out. Maybe it's just like, I think it's just, okay. I think it's just the royal palace. Like everybody in the palace is knocked out. The king, the queen, the servants, and even Ammon knocked out. So she's like, champion. So she's just running around town being like, everyone's knocked out because God got them. So let's see how this goes. And they began to assemble themselves together unto the house of the king. And there, I was right. So it's just the palace, which they're just calling the house of the king. He's a humble king. Doesn't need to be called a palace. Just the house. Just my house. And there came a multitude, and to their astonishment they beheld the king and the queen and the servants prostrate upon the earth. Oh my God. So they all just walked in. They're like, holy crap, they're all knocked out. And they all lay there as though they were dead. And they also saw Ammon, and behold, he was a Nephite. Well, wait. And behold, he was a Nephite? How did people not know Ammon was a Nephite? He didn't hide that. Maybe the king kept him a secret? But not exactly. He said, go out in the field with my flocks. I don't. All right, for the sake of the story, because they're kind of making a big deal out of the fact that this like kingdom came running into the palace and they saw a Nephite, that was a big deal. So we're just going to assume that King Lamoni didn't tell anybody that he had himself a Nephite friend. Okay. And now the people begin to murmur among themselves. Ooh. You know how murmuring gets you. Some saying that it was a great evil that had come upon them, or upon the king and his house, because he had suffered that the Nephite should remain in the land. So again, we got to go back. I don't blame these people. What do you know? All right. So you walk in, and you're like, oh my God, these people that we've been told are horrible, the Nephites, our whole life, we don't like them. One of them comes into our town. Next thing you know, whole palace is knocked out. They are all dead. I mean, put two and two together. I know I know correlation doesn't equal causation, but I mean, Nephite did. This is looking a little suspicious for this Nephite walking in. Yeah. Or even, but let's go back to the other point. They're like, they suspect evil. Well, how would you know, right? That's my point before. You see miracle, and these people, it's like they actually have to decide, is this miracle God or the devil? Like, how in the world do you know? Because right now they're describing the entire royal family was just knocked out. They look dead. It looks like they were wiped out. These people walking in, looks like everyone is just like wiped out dead, right? Now they have to then decide, okay, our entire royal family looks dead. Is this God or Satan? Right? And I imagine if they like say, oh, this must be evil, they'll be cursed or something. I mean, if those are my choices, right? There was like a fill in the blank, A or B, a royal family invited in this, I don't know what you'd call him, imposter, who knows, this Ammon guy from your sworn enemy, and next thing you know, everybody appears dead in the whole palace, right? Servants, royal family. Well, that's what you see. This is your actual eyewitness account. And then you're asked, is this God or the devil? If it were me, I would have to say devil. It seems more likely, right? Because, is this a good thing? Royal family's knocked out? Probably not. That seems bad. Anyway, well, we'll see. All right. But others rebuked them, saying, the king hath brought this evil upon his house, because he slew his servants, who had their flocks scattered at the waters of Sebus. Okay. You know what, I'm in this crowd. I'll give him that. Because apparently the people it didn't go unnoticed that the king had some shepherds, and they lost some sheep, and he killed them, right? Like, the people were like, wow, that was a little uncalled for. And so now they see him knocked out, and people are like, what does this mean? They're like, well, clearly, he's being punished for that crap. That was no bueno. No. I'm siding with him on that. That's fair logic. And they were also rebuked by those who had stood by the waters of Sebus and scattered the flocks which belonged to the king. For they were angry with Ammon because of the numbers which he had slain of their brethren at the waters of Sebus, while defending the flocks of the king. Ooh, this is confusing. Really confusing. Because we had, all right, this waters of Sebus. There was like two different groups. You had the shepherds of the king, right? We'll call those group A. And then you had a bunch of people that just like scattering flocks. They just like to scatter them, and apparently like steal some too, right? So that's kind of what they did. We'll call them group B, okay? Remember, A is the king, B are the thieves. Okay, so in this crowd, it sounds like we have some group A people who were mad at the king because he killed some of those shepherds, right? And then we have some from group B who were mad because Ammon killed, the thieves. Yeah, so I don't understand. This kingdom, apparently, the thieves and the servants of the king live in harmony somehow. Because they all walked into the king's chamber saying, like, well, we're all mad for our own reasons, even though we seem to be on opposite sides. Bizarre. I'll just move on. Strange. But anyway. Now one of them, whose brother had been slain with the sword of Ammon, being exceedingly angry with Ammon, imagine that, drew his sword and went forth that he might let it fall upon Ammon. Fair, revenge, what are you going to do? To slay him, well, I assumed. And he lifted the sword to smite him. Behold, he fell dead. Exactly, right? How can you blame this guy? Like, it appears that Ammon is evil. It does, right? No sooner does he come into town, but all of a sudden, you have some pranksters that suddenly start getting murdered and arms chopped off and craziness, and no sooner does Ammon get back to the castle, that everybody in the castle falls over dead, or at least appears to. They think they're dead, right? The people that walk in. My goodness, he's like, we got to kill this evil man. He's horrible. He's a murderer, and now he's taken out our whole royal family. Yeah, so he's like, I'm assuming this, whoever he is assuming he's doing his God's work. He's like, this is, you're evil, you're of Satan, I have to smite you. And he raises a sword and then he just falls over dead. Blah, dead. Right? Why? Okay. Like, so at this point, who killed him? If I'm in the crowd and I'm looking, I would either say, there's the devil again. The devil won't let his own, little devil servants get killed, so he just killed that guy. Yeah, that's what I would think. But I'll bet we're going to find out that, because someone dared to touch Ammon, God's chosen person, God killed him. Anyway, let's see. Now we see that Ammon could not be slain, for the Lord had said unto Mosiah thy father, I will spare him. Yeah, God killed this guy. God killed this guy, who thought he was doing his work, I assume, because they all thought that Ammon was evil. Fair. Anyway, God killed him. Dude raised his sword, and he's like, dead. Smite. Good smiting. Anyway, okay, so I will spare him, and it shall be unto him according to thy faith. Therefore Messiah trusted him unto the Lord. So yeah, once again, blah. God killed a guy that I think was trying to do the Lord's work, but too bad he was wrong. And it came to pass, drink, that when the multitude beheld that the man had fallen dead, who lifted the sword to slay Ammon, fear came upon them all, and they durst not put forth their hands to touch him or any of those who had fallen. I agree. And they began to marvel again amongst themselves what could be the cause of this great power, or what all these things could mean. So that's fair. I was worried they were going to be like, then they were convinced of God because of it. And I would have been like, how? How exactly? Because this still could have been Satan, just saying. But now they're at least like, look, we're just scared. Dude just walked in there and he died. Let's not go in there. Some biohazard area. Anyway, and it came to pass, drink. There were many among them who said that Ammon was the Great Spirit, and others said he was sent by the Great Spirit. Well, okay, alright, never mind. No one's saying he's evil anymore. I still don't know why. I think there's great evidence that this is the devil's work. But they're all saying, like, is he actually God, or did God send him? Okay. I think there's several other options, but fair enough. But others rebuked them all, saying that he was a monster. There we go. There we go. So there is another option. These people, the people using their brains. Okay, so he was a monster who had been sent from the Nephites to torment them. They have good evidence for it. Come on. Ever since this guy showed up, we got carnage out at the River Sebus, right? Not only just murder rampages, arms chopping off, and now he's just taking out the whole palace. The whole palace. So yeah, he's a monster. Nephites sent in this killing machine. Look at him go. And there were some who said that Ammon was sent by the Great Spirit to afflict them because of their iniquities. Okay, and that it was a Great Spirit that had always attended the Nephites, who had ever delivered them out of their hands, and they said that it was this Great Spirit who had destroyed so many of their brethren, the Lamanites. Well, okay, I suppose. It's like this book continues to say, so if anything bad ever happens, it must be the Lord punishing you, right? It's just that seems to be a recurring theme. The Nephites were, they were punished by God. The Jews, like the whole Isaiah thing in Israel, they were all punished by God. Now the Lamanites are like, man, we were punished too. It's just like, no, bad stuff just happens in life. You just got to deal with it and move on. You don't just have to say, oh God, I deserved it. I deserve that. You don't deserve it. You just, Anyway, fair enough. And thus the contention began to be exceedingly sharp among them. Time for a civil war, because we disagree about... about one dude. And while they were thus contending, the women servant who had caused the multitude to be gathered together came. Well, I guess she likes contention, because the woman that caused the multitude, she came. It's what it says. I don't know how to support it. Anyway, she came, and when she saw the contention which was among the multitude, she was exceedingly sorrowful, even to tears. My goodness, she is. I'm telling you, when she came, it brought water to her eyes. That was a good one. And it came to pass, drink, that she went and took the queen by the hand. Perhaps she might raise her from the ground. And as soon as she touched her hand, she arose and stood up upon her feet. Wow, that she really came, didn't she? She's now able to raise the dead. It was a good one. And she cried with a loud voice, saying, "Oh, blessed Jesus, who has saved me from an awful hell. Oh, blessed God, have mercy on this people." I suppose that's the queen talking, and not, oh man, I heard I forget her name. It's the only other woman in the whole book. Abish. There it is. I had to flip back a few pages to find it. Abish. Yes, I don't think it's Abish talking, but Abish raised the queen from the, at least, perceived death, and now she's up, and the queen popped to her feet and said, "Oh, Jesus, Jesus, help us, save my people, Jesus." Oh. And when she had said this, she clasped her hands, being filled with joy, speaking many words which were not understood. And when she had done this, she took the king Lamoni by the hand, and beheld, he arose and stood upon his feet. This is like one of those, you touch someone, and they get the magic. They get the raising from the dead magic. There you go. And I love she spake many words which were not understood. So either we're supposed to take from that she spoke in tongues, or she's not fully out of her coma and she's babbling nonsense. I'm not sure what to take out of that. And he immediately, seeing the contention among his people, went forth and began to rebuke them, and to teach them the words which he had heard from the mouth of Ammon. And as many as heard his words believed, and were converted unto the Lord. There you go. He just had to give them a rebuking. They were like, "My bad, all right, fine, God, woohoo, Jesus, yeah, let's do this." But there were many among them who would not hear his words. Therefore they went their way. Something tells me they'll return. And it came to pass, drink. When Ammon arose, he also administered unto them, and also did all that. Well, who woke him up? Nobody gave him the magic touch, but somehow it just came to pass that he rose. So there you go. And so he administered unto them, and also did all the servants of Lamoni. They did all declare unto the people the selfsame thing, that their hearts had been changed, and they had no more desire to do evil. Okay, it's a weird coma. I don't know what happened in it. It did the trick. Anyway, I guess if you want to believe, go all in, right? But be warned, it will knock you out. You're flat out, because you just can't handle that much spirit. But the good news is, when you wake up, changed. You're born again with Jesus. All right. And behold, many did declare unto the people that they had seen angels, and had conversed with them, and thus they had told them things of God, and of his righteousness. Wow. Okay, well, all right. So when they were in the comas, right, they actually got to talk to angels. It was great. And the angels were like, this is who God is. I know him. He's my bro. Let me tell you about him. And it came to pass, drink. Sorry, that gulp was bigger than it should have been. Anyway, there were many that did believe in their words, and as many did believe were baptized, and they became a righteous people, and they did establish a church among them. Man, Ammon did the trick in this town. Sounds like everybody's converted. Well, no. The ones that were not converted went their way. So did that mean they don't live there anymore? They literally moved away? Man, I guess. There you go. And thus the work of the Lord did commence among the Lamanites. Thus the Lord did begin to pour out his Spirit upon them. It's like the 10th time I've read that. It still cracks me up every time. The Lord pouring his Spirit all over everybody. That's just... Oh, okay. Sorry. Back on track. There's one half sentence left. I couldn't even get to it. And we see that his arm is extended to all people who will repent and believe on his name. Well, I have to end it, guys. This is a 2-chapter episode, but that's because of my diminished mental capacity. What are you going to do? You know what? It's a change, if nothing else. Maybe you were like, not his best. I like him more when he's not drinking. But if that's, come on. I asked you to sit through one with me a little bit, So anyway. Okay, that happened. Good or bad, it happened. So there you go. It is what it is. And so hopefully you enjoyed it. I had fun doing it. I gotta admit, this was fun doing it with the aid. This is a fun drinking game. I gotta say, it really, really is. And you know what? I don't know if I ever actually thanked the person that came up with this game. So it was, if you look at iTunes, the person that came up with this, and I'll just read it. It is by 21st Century Boy. Okay, 21ST Century Boy. That's who this is who we have to thank for the drinking game. This was their idea. And it says, official drinking game is a shot every time Dave Michael says, and it came to pass, and yay. Now, first of all, a shot? 21st Century Boy, that's just mean. Like, you'd be dead. You can't do that. You just can't. So I think he took it a little too far, but I like the spirit of it. And he continues to say, you will be FUBAR by the end of the chapter, I assure you. And for those of you that don't know what FUBAR means, it's an acronym, actually, which stands for Effed Up Beyond All Recognition. And I had to say effed because of the clean nature of this show. Sorry. Considering where I went with this episode's readings, I don't know if I could claim this as a clean episode. Nah, whatever. I didn't swear. So, woo. Anyway, the review continues. I'm just going to do it justice because 20th Century Boy really did. He added a new aspect to the show. I think he deserves credit. So I'm going to finish reading this review. And it says, I gave this a 5 only for the tenacity of reading this gibberish out loud. Point is, thank you, whoever you are, 21st Century Boy. And if you know who you are, if that was you, email me. Let's give you the credit you deserve. Say that was me, because I love this drinking game. Well, I mean, and everybody else does. The one time where I stopped doing it, oh my God, I've never received so many emails. Like, seriously, that was probably the biggest immediate response I got, was when I was like, maybe the drinking game's annoying. It was like, no, bring it back. So anyway, you have made you've been successful at making this show entertaining and a success, and you also made it successful for me to be pretty hammered right now. Well done. You should be very proud. Good corrupter. Okay, I have to end this because I can't be held responsible for anything else that may or may not come out of my mouth. So thank you to the Mimo family. Love you guys. Love you for all your support. And hopefully everybody liked the last Mimo special. I had a blast. I want to do them again. It's time consuming, and I wish I had a life that just had tons of free time. I would pump these out constantly. And so I'll try to do it again as soon as I can. But until then, hopefully you keep listening, because I'm going to keep doing them, because I love you guys, and I love doing this. And so, with that being said, stay tuned for next time. Goodbye.
This song is licensed for use within this podcast. All song and copyright information can be found at www.mybookofmormonpodcast.com.